Welcome back. I was just working on my Athens and Rome section, kind of making the heading stand out a little more, added a little decoration. And today we are going to work on the next section, which is pros and cons of direct democracy versus a representative democracy. So just like before, I'm going to go back to my summary and reread those sections that describe what those things are. And then I'm going to make my pros and cons charts. So let's see, when I scan down to that last paragraph, the first thing I notice is direct democracy. A direct democracy is where everyone got a vote. It worked okay in some small towns in the colonies. They would have town meetings when they needed to decide on something or solve a problem. It was not very efficient for a whole country, though. Making laws and governing was a full-time job. People had other things to do, so they needed a representative democracy, where elected representatives made the laws and ran the government. Those representatives had to protect everyone's rights. Okay, so we talked about direct democracy when we talked about Athens and Greece. That's what they had. And so if you remember, well, first, this first page is going to be all about direct democracy, and make yourself a pro and con chart, and then we'll fill it in. So pause the video if you need to, and then restart it when you're ready. In a direct democracy, the pros, what would you think of as the pros? I feel like the fact that everyone gets a vote, like that sounds great. Every single person gets a vote. So I put that in the pros. And then the other pro, it worked in Athens. Yeah. You could add, it worked in the small towns, in the colonies even. They had some direct democracies before they formed the whole government of the new country of the United States. Then the cons, not so efficient. People don't have time to vote on every single law. And the new country is much bigger than Athens or just one small town in the colonies. So, my pros, everyone gets a vote. It worked in Athens. And then I might also add in there, it worked in some small towns in the colonies. And then my cons, it is not efficient to ask every single person in an entire country to vote on every single law. So people don't have time to vote on every single law and write every single law, right? They're doing their other jobs. So we need people who we can trust to represent us to do a good job with that. And then finally, the new country is a lot bigger than Athens. Same kind of idea about it not being super efficient to have a direct democracy. Make sense? Okay. Now let's think about a representative democracy. What did it say in here again? Representative democracy, where elected representatives made the laws and ran the government. Those representatives had to protect everyone's rights. So these are elected representatives. So we vote to elect our senators and our congressmen. Those are our representatives. And everyone who is a citizen, like I'm not a rich, powerful person, but I'm a citizen and I can vote for my representatives. And when you're 18, you can too. Okay, so make yourself another pro and con chart and then we'll fill it in. Have your title of representative democracy. And the pros, well, direct democracy, not so efficient. Representative democracy, much more efficient. That's the first pro that I put. The next pro I put was representatives spent all their time on the job of governing. So you're not trying to be a software engineer and write all the laws of the government at the same time, or be a firefighter and also write all the laws of the government. Your only job is to write laws. So you can be really good at it, and you can be really thorough and really think about what you're doing. So those were my pros. And then for cons, just like it was a pro in direct democracy that everyone had a say, it's a con that everyone doesn't have a say in every law. It's inefficient, but in some ways it's kind of a nice idea, right? So those are my pros and cons. And then at the bottom there, I added something else that we haven't really talked about yet, and that is this idea of the common good. Common meaning everybody has it, and good meaning good. Good meaning positive life circumstances. So a good life for everyone is what the common good means. And our representatives are in charge of making sure that they take care of the common good. In other words, they make laws that protect our natural rights and are good for everybody, not just good for certain people, like taxes only on the poorest people would not be looking out for the common good. No taxes for giant corporations. That would be really good for giant corporations, but it wouldn't be very good for everybody else who had to pay taxes. Things like that. Okay, so you want to make a statement down there about how representatives in a representative democracy have to work for the common good. Okay? And that is all for today. Tomorrow we are going to work on our final section, which is about civic virtue. And we'll talk about that then. All right, see you next time. Thank you.